Hey turnips! So today we'll be making a crème brûlée, and this one's going to be really special. We're going to make crème brûlée in an eggshell. And as we all know, crème brûlée is a classic dessert and just so delicious and sweet. And without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so first off, in order to make the crème brûlée, we are going to use our eggs. And instead of just cracking our eggs like we usually do, we are going to cut our eggs at a slight angle, and then we are going to saw it off just a little bit until we puncture just a small hole and just big enough for us to use a scissor to cut around the eggshell. I'm going to zoom in a little bit later, but I just want you guys to see a general overview of how I'm cutting the egg. I'm cutting the egg at approximately 2/3 up, and I'm just cutting at a slight angle as well. I strongly recommend you guys using a smaller knife and use a knife that has a lot of teeth so that there's a lot of abrasion. So when you chip off the eggshell just a little bit, you start to see a dent in the eggshell. When you make that little eggshell dent, you can start seeing a little egg dust from the shell start coming off, and that's perfectly fine. That means that you're cutting it very gently. Just keep on cutting it until you see a small little crack. And when you see a small little crack, start cutting it around with your scissor. You guys can use a large scissor or a small scissor, it doesn't really matter. I'm using a large one, but if you're using a small one, that's even better since you have a better sense of grasp on the direction of where you're cutting. And I think that using a scissor is so much better than using a knife, since with scissor you have a sense of control of the direction where you want to go. And you can also snip it out of smaller pieces, but using a knife, you know how long the teeth are, so you know what direction and how much force you need to apply to cut your egg the way it is. I think scissor is so much better, and it just makes a cleaner look in the end. Once you have finished cutting off your lid, you can remove it, and now we are going to pour our egg whites onto a plate, and we will pour our egg yolks onto another plate since we only use the egg yolk for crème brûlée. With so much egg whites, it would be a waste to throw it all out. You guys could consider cooking it, or you guys could also consider making that delicious macaron recipe, which calls for a good amount of egg whites. So give that a try. The video's link is down on the lower right hand corner, and just let me know if you guys like it. And here is a close-up of how I'm cutting off the eggshells with my knife and scissors. So earlier I saved all my egg yolks in the eggshells just so you guys can see, and I'm just going to pour in my egg yolks now. Try to not add any egg whites if you guys can, because I noticed that when I add egg whites to my crème brûlée, it does not look as yellow and it does not have as strong of a taste of those egg yolks. I really think that crème brûlée's flavor is defined by the egg yolks, so try avoiding adding egg whites, and if you guys accidentally added your egg whites to the mixing bowl, that's perfectly fine. You guys can use the empty water bottle trick where you guys can use the tip of a water bottle, the mouthpiece, and gently push it towards near the yolk, and you guys could squeeze it slightly so that it sucks in the yolk, and then you just be left with egg whites. Unfortunately, this egg yolk and egg white water bottle trick does not work if you guys have already broken the barrier between the egg yolks and egg whites. And here I am, I'm using Walmart's Great Value granulated sugar. I'm adding it as my best friend Jenny is whisking the egg yolks. By doing so, you are trying to mix in your sugar so that it's well blended together. Just keep on mixing until you think that it's relatively saturated, where you do not see any clumps of sugar around. Since I don't have Madagascar vanilla beans or vanilla extract or vanilla essence, I'm going to use my syrup that's vanilla flavored and just add on to my egg batter. And I also know that my vanilla syrup is very sweet, so that means that it has a lot of sugar content. And I'm just going to substitute a little bit less sugar to make up for the vanilla syrup. And of course, if you guys ever have to choose between all these vanilla flavoring, I surely recommend you guys getting the Madagascar Vanilla Bean, which is very expensive but it's really good in flavor, and then followed by the vanilla extract and followed by vanilla essence. And now I'm going to use Target's Market Pantry's heavy whipping cream, and heavy whipping cream is going to give you a crème brûlée that really creamy texture, so it's really important. Unfortunately, the heavy whipping cream cannot be substituted with half and half or whole milk because it's really different in texture. And you guys have any heavy whipping cream left over, if you guys have any heavy whipping cream left over, you guys can try making ice cream. I've made the Thai tea ice cream and it's really delicious. And the main ingredients is just milk, heavy cream, Thai tea leaves, and just a couple other ingredients, and it can be found in the video down below. You guys can put your heavy whipping cream into a pan and just heat it up until it has a rolling boil. Or you guys could also consider taking the shortcut like I always do, and you guys could put it in the microwave and just heat it up. After heating it up, add your cream little by little because you do not want scrambled eggs. Just let your eggs texture and get right into the right consistency, and just keep on mixing as you add in a little bit more, gently, a little bit by a little bit. And trust me, you do not want to take the shortcut because this will also make your egg whites into scrambled eggs, and you do not want to eat scrambled eggs in your crème brûlée. Once you guys have added about 1/2 of your cream already, you guys can pour the rest because at that point your eggs are already textured at a high temperature so that it will not cause any scrambled eggs to form. Since I really want my crème brûlée to have a really even consistency and to have a really smooth texture as well, I'm just adding in, just being extra careful, adding in bit by bit. And of course, from all that mixing, you could see the color is already changing. It went from really yellow from the egg yolks into like this really creamy yellow color now. And of course, if we added our egg whites earlier, it would not be as pretty the color by then because it would be too light. And of course, how can we make crème brûlée without the iconic ramekin? Ramekins are usually served along with crème brûlées so that it has a really nice iconic look to it. And if you guys don't have a ramekin, that's okay. You guys can consider using a ceramic bowl. And just make sure that the bowl is heat proof because you are going to bake it at a high degrees and you do not want your bowl to melt. Essentially for me, I'm just using the ramekin to hold my eggshells in place. And of course, I'm going to make the crème brûlée in the ramekin as well. And if you guys have cake pop pans, you guys could put the eggshells on top of the cake pop pans so that it would just be perfectly sitting there and you guys do not need to worry about it bobbling and wobbling around. Me and my best friend Jenny are trying to find a way that we can fit the eggshells because we definitely made it work before and we're trying to not break the eggshell as well. After jumbling for a while, we finally found the right way to put our eggs so that it would fit well together. Now that it's all settled in, we are going to pour our batter into a pitcher and we're just going to pour from the pitcher to the eggshells. And we're going to pour it at least 2/3 full, and we want to make sure that the whole of the eggshells are relatively big so that we can really pour it in without having any trouble. And you guys can also consider getting the egg stands where you can also bake them as well. And of course, now here comes our big ramekin. Now that I think about it in hindsight, you guys can consider cutting your eggs in the middle of the eggshell so that you guys can have 2 surface layers. I know that some eggs are really pointy, so it's like in the form of a teardrop shape, but if you have an egg that's relatively symmetrical from top to bottom, you guys can consider just cutting in the middle so that you guys have 2 small eggshells cups so you guys can also fill more and make more crème brûlée. And then we are going to bake our crème brûlées in a preheated 350 degrees oven for approximately 40 minutes. If you guys have more ramekins than eggshells, or you guys just have ramekins, you guys could do the 40 minutes. And if you guys have the eggshell and ramekin in combination, you guys could lessen the duration. And if you guys just have eggshells, since they're so small, they cook relatively fast. So I strongly recommend you guys cook around 20 minutes. And if you guys are not certain how long you guys should cook it for, just check every 5 minutes with a toothpick, and if your toothpick comes out clean, it's ready. And just let it cool for at least an hour before putting it into your fridge. And to create that really pretty top layer of caramelized sugar, we are going to sprinkle granulated sugar on top, and we're going to pour the excess out, and we're going to torch it. Since I don't have a torch, I decided to use my oven and do the broil option, and just broil it for a couple seconds before it turns really beautifully golden brown. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this really delicious eggshell crème brûlée. And I think it's really unique and it's perfect for Valentine's Day since Valentine's Day is coming up. What's more better than eating crème brûlée inside an eggshell? It's very petite, cute, and exquisite. And if you guys missed out my earlier video, I made animal donuts and they're really cute as well. So check that out. And if you guys like what I do, hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, like, and share. Until next time, bye!